Hi, beautiful guys and gals. Tina here. Welcome back to my playthrough of Detective Pikachu Returns. Last time we started off in Rhyme City with an award ceremony, comparing to the last game, Detective Pikachu, which you could play on the DS, and we also met a Corviknight who was out of control, stole Pikachu's hat, and had to get it back. But as you can see, we did get it back. So this time, we ended off last time talking to Holiday about some missing jewels. So how about we follow him and see what happens? But I want to see what Pikachu has to say first.
Oh yeah, I'm in a great mood. This city really gets me pumped up.
That's good. All right, let's go. He went this way. Oh, look at those big Pokemon over there. There's a Poliwrath, Hariyama. There's Indeedee right there. Ooh, there's Maractus. Huh. There he is. Alright. I appreciate you coming on such short notice, Tim. This way. The crime took place at the dentist residence up ahead. You mean in here? Say, you walked that way. Where did you go?
Alright. Let's continue on for a bit more.
Remember, guys, I'm playing this game completely blind, so I have no idea where to go. Is it over here?
Whoa.
Yeah, sorry, Pikachu. I don't know where I'm going. I've never played this before. I guess let's just keep going this way. Okay, there they are.
Well, if it isn't the great detectives.
Hi. Brad McMaster, Rhyme City Police Lieutenant. And Manectric, dedicated to law and order. Oh, Manectric's a really cool Pokemon in my opinion. It's been a while, Brad. I see you're on the case too. I suppose that means you are as well? You private detectives do love sticking your noses into every little thing. If Mr. Dennis hadn't requested you personally, I'd be asking you to leave right now. Yep, he's still a jerk. Must have been a jerk in the first game, too. Think he's still holding a grudge from that time we showed him up? Nick, he says no funny business. Sheesh, no wonder you two are partners. That's enough, Brad. We're going to be conducting this investigation together. This is the scene of the crime, right? Yes, this mansion belongs to Sanjeev Dennis, a jeweler. Dennis residence. It's a nice looking house, I gotta admit. Mr. Dennis is one of the wealthiest men in Rhyme City. Under normal circumstances, a civilian like yourself would never have the opportunity to meet him. Make sure you don't do anything to offend him. Oh, and don't get in the way of our investigation either. He's just gotta get a dig in somewhere, doesn't he? Okay, Tim, come inside. What a jerk. He must have been a real jerk in the first game. The missing jewel. Dennis residence, first floor. This is a really nice house, I gotta admit. Is that him? Alright, Tim. Mr. Dennis is waiting for you in the room to the right. Oh, I just took a guess. Thanks, Inspector Holiday. There he is.
Oh, Tim, I've been waiting for you.
Sanjeev Dennis, jeweler. He seems nice to me. Aw, Growlithe, guard at the Dennis residence. My name is Sanjeev Dennis. I'm a jeweler, and this is my partner, Growlithe. Growl. I'm Detective Tim Goodman, and this is my partner, Pikachu. Sorry to jump right into it, but could you please tell us what you know about the incident? A precious jewel was stolen while I was out of the house. It's called the Aurora Drop, and it's a very rare jewel indeed. The Aurora Drop? What a mysterious name. Magical, even. The thief injured one of my staff members and made off with the jewel. Okay. Good to know. Thankfully, my staff member's injuries were minor, and yet Is something sticking out to you as odd? Well, the police are treating my trusted butler as the prime suspect. They think the butler did it. Could you tell me a little more about the stolen jewel? It looks like this. Most gemstones must be first cut and polished into beautiful jewels, but the aurora drop is said to have naturally formed into its shape. The way it shines looks a bit like an aurora. It is pretty. Yes, that's precisely how it got its name. The aurora drop has been the subject of many a tale, but it was thought to be nothing more than fiction. Even among us jewelers, for the longest time, we called it the jewel of legend. Wow, he wasn't kidding when he called it precious. Guess it's no surprise that someone wanted to steal it. It definitely sounds valuable. Were you displaying it? I kept it securely locked within a special reinforced case inside my jewel storage room. There are locks on both the storage room door and the reinforced case. And yet, despite all the security, it still got stolen. About your butler. You mentioned that the police already have a suspect? Yes, they believe that the thief is my own trusted butler, Barnes. Why did they think that? Because Barnes and I are the only people who can access the key to the storage room. What's keeping someone else from getting to it? The key is always kept around Growlith's neck. But if anyone but Barnes or myself attempted to take it from her, Growlith would start barking. My Growlith is a very royal Pokemon. She would never allow the key to be taken by a stranger. I don't see a key around Growlith's neck right now. The police think Barnes took it. That would certainly make sense, assuming Barnes really is the culprit. Mr. Dennis, if it's possible, I'd like to talk with Barnes. He's currently being questioned by the police. But you don't believe Barnes is a thief, is that correct? I've known Barnes since we were young. He's worked in this home for years and always served us well. I'm certain that he never steals from me, and I couldn't possibly imagine him hurting anyone. So you're saying Barnes didn't do it and the real culprit is still at large? That's right. Someone else must have stolen the jewel. Please help me prove that Barnes is innocent. Ah, so that's why he called us here, to clear his butler's name. We'll talk to Barnes later. So finding the aurora drop and clearing Barnes of suspicion, those are the two things you called us here to do. Could you please? You're the only ones I can count on. Our job is to investigate the case and reveal the truth. We won't know if Barnes is truly innocent until we look into this more. Yeah, the police must have at least some reason to suspect him, sorry. But we'll do what we can. If that's acceptable to you, we'll take the case. That's more than acceptable. Thank you, Tim. Great. In that case, may I start investigating the scene of the crime? Of course. The jewel storage room is upstairs. I know you won't let me down. Wait a second, Tim. There's something I want to try, starting with this case. Something you want to try? Yeah, a case notebook. The writers for Detective Journal swear by it. Detective Journal? That's the magazine you're always reading, right? Yeah, that's the one. They research the most efficient way for detectives to organize their case notes. The solution they came up with was a case notebook. Sounds intriguing. How does it work? I'm getting to that. First, open up your notebook. Okay. First, let's write in the notebook any burning questions that arise while we're investigating. We'll summarize the testimony and evidence that we've gathered during our investigation on the page below. After we collected enough testimonies and evidence, the begin deducting option will appear. When you select this, we can start deducting the answers to our questions. We don't have enough testimonies or evidence right now, but once we do, we'll be able to start deducting. I guess actually using this notebook is the best approach. So Tim, what do we have to do right now? We have to collect testimonies and evidence to figure out how the jewel was stolen. To do that, we first have to investigate the scene of the crime. That's right. Let's go check out the jewel storage room. All right. Up we go. Is this it?
Whoa.
Well, if I can find it, I thought that was it. Oh, in here. Okay. The jewel storage room has been left exactly as it was at the time of the incident. Inspector Holiday's already filled me in. Please go right ahead. Thank you. Oh, my. Oh, my. I already see some stuff. What is it, Pikachu? I checked out the door, but there are no signs of forced entry. Then we can be fairly certain that the thief used a key to get in. According to Dennis, this room's where the Aurora drop used to be. Let's take a closer look. The first thing that popped out to me was... The area looks more disturbed than the rest. Let's start investigating. We might find a clue. Alright, don't let any details slip past you, Tim. Where should we look first? This. Here's a blue feather. Do you think the Pokemon it belonged to was in this room? Maybe it's from a Pokemon that lives in the mansion. Let's look into that later. Fine. The jewel case is still locked. Huh. Like Dennis said, the jewel in this case was sorted under lock and key. And the key to the case is a different key than the one to the jewel storage room door. I wonder who has the key then. This is the only case that's damaged. Must be where they kept the Aurora drop. The edges look like it was sliced clean with a blade. What kind of blade could slice this cleanly through such a sturdy jewel case? Maybe it was the work of a Pokemon, like I was saying.
Hey, Tim. Check it out. Looks good, huh? Disguises are a key part of detective work, you know.
Yeah, whatever. I'll quit goofing off and investigate.
He clearly doesn't appreciate my art. Perhaps I need to give him a little more training.
What is all this cotton-like stuff, anyway? There's some cotton on the ground. It looks really fluffy and soft. It looks like, that looks like it could be from the Pokemon Whimsicott or Cottony, because those are the only Pokemon I can think that have cotton. What's a bunch of cotton doing in here?
Whoa.
Oh, I didn't check everywhere? Oh. Maybe here? That looks like part of the jewel case. Based on the shape, do you think the top half of the case was cut off? Yeah, it looks that way. It's a really clean cut. Slicing it must have taken one seriously sharp blade. I doubt a human could pull that off.
Right.
We've covered everything I was wondering about. Any other spots you want to check? No, I don't think so.
Okay, let's start deducing.
Oh, I thought it was never mind. I'm such an idiot. Okay. You probably figured out how the culprit stole the jewel by now, eh? Alright, so let's begin deducing in your case notebook. Okay. How was the jewel stolen? We have a few plausible theories. Which do you think is right? Yes, the culprit cut open the case and stole the jewel.
Okay.
From what we've seen at the crime scene, we can tell that the jewel case was sliced open. After that, the Aurora drop was removed from the case and taken away. Right, and we saw that the jewel case was still locked, which supports that claim. We still need to investigate more to determine how the case was sliced open. But at least now we know how the thief got their hands on the Aurora drop. Yeah, we made our first step forward. Okay. You understand how to use the case notebook now? Yep, once I've got some evidence, I'll start deducing. Feel free to start deducing whenever you feel like it. After investigating the scene, we now know how the crime was carried out. We can be certain that the culprit sliced open the case and took the jewel from inside. But there's just one thing that's strange. Oh yeah? Yeah, think, Tim. What's strange about the way the crime was committed? The glass was cut, but the door wasn't?
Oh,
Yeah. That's right. So that means the thief only had one of the keys, the one to the storage room. They didn't have the key to the jewel case. According to Mr. Dennis, only he and Barnes can access the jewel storage room. I understand why the police suspect Barnes, but I'm not so sure. Obviously, it'd be best if we could talk to Barnes ourselves, but he's still being questioned. We need to ask Mr. Dennis about the lock on the jewel case. Right, after we wrap up here, let's go ask him. How's the investigation going, Tim? Oh, Mr. Dennis. Sorry, I couldn't just stand waiting around. Have you discovered anything? It does appear that the culprit used the storage room key to gain entry. We believe they cut open the jewel case and took the Aurora drop. Is that so? I suppose that doesn't help Barnes much, since he has the access to the key. I have a question for you, Mr. Dennis. Who has the key to the jewel case? I have it right here. I always carry the key to the jewel case on my person. I've known Barnes for a very long time, but I still won't give him this key. Okay. The security of the jewel case is my personal responsibility. Got it. So both Barnes and Dennis can access the key to the jewel storage room. But only Mr. Dennis has the access to the key to the jewel case itself. That's valuable information, Mr. Dennis. Thank you. Really? I thought I might be getting in the way, but I'm glad to hear I could help. The Aurora drop is meant to become a symbol of revival for Rhyme City. Anyway, I'm counting on you, Tim. A symbol of revival? Let's ask Dennis about that later. Yeah, that's not really important. Okay, is Barnes the culprit? Yeah. If the key hadn't been used to unlock the storage room, Barnes wouldn't be under suspicion in the first place. Why would he do that, knowing people would suspect him? Maybe he didn't think that far ahead. In any case, based on what we found at the scene of the crime, we can't be certain of anything just yet. We need to talk to Barnes and the other people in the mansion and hear what they have to say. Not just the people, the Pokemon too. I'll interpret for you when we talk to them. All right, I'm counting on you, Pikachu. Now that we've got our next steps figured out, let's start interviewing everyone right away. I don't think we can start deducing yet.
hey.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Let's get out. Hey, Tim, there's something on the floor by the window. Should we check it out? You mean in here? Where? Yes, I know it's a red jewel. On the floor by the window. Where?
Seems like the residents of this mansion drink coffee frequently.
Uh-huh.
I can tell by the aroma.
Oh, Pikachu. Oh. Near the window. Oh, here. Okay. It was on the outside. I thought it was still on the inside of the room. Another feather. Wait, more feathers.
Oh,
What's all this? Pokemon feathers? Sure looks like it. They're scattered all over the floor and the window's open. Maybe a Pokemon got in or out through here. Do you think it has anything to do with this case? Look at this. One of these feathers is darker than the others. Looks like the other one at the crime scene. You're right. The other 6 are a lighter shade of blue. Something about that is nagging at me. That looks like either a Rookie's feather or a Chatot feather, or maybe even a... No, not a... I was going to say a Swablu feather, but that's probably not it. Okay, well, I can't interview you. And I can't interview the police, so let's go downstairs, I guess. Since there's no people or Pokemon up here. Who are you?
Hello there, Detective Tim. No, I mean, Detective Goodman?
That's fine, dude. Larry Turner, newest staff member of the Dennis residence. Oh, okay. Hello there. Wait, you are the detective, right? That's what Mr. Dennis said, at least. The name's Wait, that's not proper enough. Sorry. My name is Larry Turner, and I'm a member of the house staff. House staff, huh? Seems in over his head. If you need anything, just let me know. I mean, please inform me if... You really don't have to be so formal with us. Yeah, come on, lighten up a bit. Thanks, that's a huge relief. I got this job a while ago, but I'm still not used to talking all fancy. Uh-oh, is that a problem? Well, it's a good thing for me that Barnes deals with all the important guests. My main duties are taking care of the Pokemon, managing the house, and groundskeeping. And I can handle all that, no problem. I don't know, this guy isn't exactly filling me with confidence in his ability to do his job. Anyway, you wanted to ask about what happened, right? I mean, I already told the police everything I know. I'm really sorry for taking up more of your time. Oh, sorry, that's not what I meant. I meant, I'm not complaining or anything. It's just that I don't remember what happened very well. Something attacked me out of nowhere and I blacked out. Something attacked him. So not the thief then? Can you please tell us more about that, Mr. Turner? Sure, no problem. Yeah. Right, so where to start? I was just doing my job like normal. I made food for the Pokemon, did some cleaning around the mansion, that sort of thing. I think I was tidying the garden when it happened. I saw a ducklet fly out of a second-story window. Ducklet! I was like, that's it. I was like, I know that blue light-colored feather looked like a certain Pokemon, but I just couldn't think. As I recall, I wondered where she was going. I mean, usually Ducklet just walks out the front door. It seemed weird to me, so I went upstairs to see what was going on. That's when I saw that the door to the jewel storage room was wide open. And if that wasn't shocking enough, the moment I went to look inside, I suddenly got punched by a Pokemon. Next thing I knew, I was lying on a sofa and someone was treating my wounds. A Pokemon punched you? Yeah, I feel like I glimpsed a small red figure for just a moment. Based on its size, it couldn't have been human, so I'm guessing it was a Pokemon. A red Pokemon. Do you know what kind it was? I'm not really sure. It all happened so fast. I see. I'm so sorry that happened to you, but I'm glad you weren't seriously hurt. That's what the doctor said, too. No Pokemon would want to steal the Aurora Drop. It's possible that the culprit ordered their partner Pokemon to swipe the jewel and punch out Turner. So, Tim, now that we've heard Turner's story, what do you think? You need to find the ducklet that flew out that window and that red Pokemon, too. Yep, you got it. About the culprit.
Excuse me?
Did you see anything else when the Pokemon attacked you? The thief who brought the Pokemon along was probably nearby. Unfortunately, that's all I saw. I see. Can you think of any other details that might give us a clue about the culprit? Nothing in particular is coming to mind. I mean, Mr. Dennis is such a nice person. I never heard of anyone holding a grudge against him. And I was really surprised to hear that Barnes is a suspect. You don't think Barnes is responsible? I guess the police must have some reason to suspect him. But honestly, I just can't believe it. Barnes is still showing me the ropes around here. He's a great coworker with tons of experience. I mean, if you know Barnes before all this, you could never imagine him being a thief. And the Aurora Drop.
Excuse me?
Do you know anything about the stolen jewel? The Aurora Drop? I've never seen the thing. It's been shut up in that storage room ever since it was brought to the house. Of course, I know it's valuable and all. I assume that's what's been causing all the arguments between Mr. and Mrs. Dennis lately. What sort of arguments? In case you haven't heard, Mr. Dennis says he's going to donate the Aurora Drop. Seems like Mrs. Dennis is against the plan. They've been fighting about it almost nightly. Every night? Dang. I guess Mrs. Dennis just doesn't want to give up such a valuable jewel. So the Aurora Drop's been driving a wedge between husband and wife, eh? Wow. Okay. Oh, well, okay. You're even harder to talk to than Brad's main act trick. I take it you've heard what Mr. Dennis has to say. I'm guessing he also told you about his butler. He's definitely not pleased that Barnes has fallen under suspicion. Sure seems that way. In my position, I'm not at liberty to share all the information we've gathered. But if there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. Thank you. Ugh. I'm not going to read all this. We're still looking into that. I'm sure you'll get more direct answers by asking the witnesses themselves. He's right. What about Barnes? Uh-huh. Yes, I know that. He doesn't sound too terribly convinced. Does anything strike you as odd? Yes, actually, I can't think of a single motive for Barnes to steal that jewel. Huh. If you ask me, that wife is really suspicious, especially after they said it's been causing them to argue nightly, so it could be her. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yes, I hope. Okay. Can we... Oh, hello!
Yes? You certainly don't look like you're with the police. State your business.
Claudia Dennis. Oh, Dennis's wife! We're detectives. Mr. Dennis asked us to investigate the incident that occurred here. Detectives? Oh, I suppose my husband did say something about that. Your husband? That must mean you're Claudia Dennis, Sanjeev's wife. I'm sorry to bother you, but do you mind if we ask you some questions? I do mind, actually. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. The case has already been solved. What do you mean? The police said that Barnes is behind all this, so the matter's settled. We've heard that he's under suspicion, yes, and we can't be certain it was Barnes who committed the crime. You sound just like my husband, but nothing you say will change the fact that Barnes is the culprit. Barnes' partner, Ducklet, was up to no good. I saw it with my own eyes. Did you witness the crime? Barnes' partner, Ducklet, was involved? You look as though you don't believe me.
Excuse me?
Well, I didn't exactly see it clearly. Huh? But I did witness some irrefutable proof. What exactly did you see? At the time of the incident, I was enjoying a cup of tea in my room on the second floor. Just then, I noticed a bird Pokemon flying outside the window. A bird? Yes, I clearly saw a blue bird Pokemon. It had to have been Ducklet. We did find blue feathers near the window in the storage room, so those were Ducklets. In hindsight, she was obviously stealing the jewel. I also heard a faint sound just before that, like something metallic. A metallic sound. And you know what could have made the noise? No, I don't, but the storage room was ransacked, wasn't it? Oh boy. She is pretty darn convinced of her own theory. That it's all based on a metallic sound and the sight of a flying bluebird Pokemon. Pretty flimsy, if you ask me. Yeah. Uh-huh. I get that she's upset, but she doesn't have to take it out on us.
Excuse me?
Mr. Dennis seems confident that Barnes is innocent. Oh, yes, I'm sure he is. He's always been too trusting, especially when it comes to Barnes. Those two really trust each other that much? I'm told Barnes has worked here for a long time, much longer, in fact, than I've known Sanjeev. I suppose that's why Barnes is always taking my husband's side. What do you mean by that? Whenever my husband and I have a disagreement, Barnes inevitably sides with Sanjeev, even though I'm sure he believes he's being impartial. The lack of self-awareness is yet another one of his many flaws. I get the feeling Claudia's not a huge fan of Barnes. Do you think that's why she's so sure he's the thief? I think so.
Excuse me?
Could you tell me more about Ducklet? Ducklet is Barnes' partner. She dotes on him tirelessly and is always by his side. Okay. You mentioned that earlier she might be involved in the crime somehow. Would Ducklet be capable of such a thing? Yeah, she even helps Barnes out with his shopping. She's certainly capable of making off with a jewel. Well, whether or not Ducklet stole the jewel, the one thing that seems certain is that she really loves Barnes and the Aurora Drop.
Yes?
Yes. Mr. Dennis told me the same thing. But do you really understand? Can you even comprehend just how valuable it is? Huh? I knew it. Just look at those blank expressions. Hey, my face always looks like this. As it is, I'm not even sure my husband understands the true value of that jewel. After getting his hands on something so precious, why would he want to donate it to Rhyme City? So you're against donating the Aurora Drop? Of course I am. Treasures like that aren't meant to be paraded about for general public. They should be preserved for quiet observation by a select few. Hard to imagine her quietly doing anything. Clefable, all ears for mansion gossip. Oh, it's Clefable, Mrs. Dennis's partner, apparently. Can I ask you a few questions? Whoa, what gives? No need to be so rude. What's wrong? Seems like she's real suspicious of us. Maybe she's feeling sensitive after the incident here. Who else do we have to interview? Oh. Alright, let's interview Growlithe. It's Dennis's partner, Growlithe. She sure doesn't look happy. Apparently she feels responsible. No wonder she's so down. Maybe we should leave her alone for a while. Finally, Dennis. Ask me anything you like. What makes the Aurora Drop a symbol of revival? 2 years ago, during the R incident, my jewels shop suffered considerable damage. Wait, you were a victim of the R incident? Yes, some Pokemon who have been exposed to R went berserk. Their rampage destroyed my shop, to say nothing of the damage done to my jewels and other goods. By the time I already had the Aurora Drop, I kept it stored safely in the shop. So, was the Aurora Drop damaged too? No, as a matter of fact, it wasn't. All the jewels in my shop, the Aurora Drop was the only one to remain unscathed. In fact, debris fell so perfectly around the Aurora Drop that you might believe it was protected. That's incredible. I guess there's some magic left in the world after all. Huh. People started visiting my shop just to see it, and thanks to all the attention, my business was able to get back on its feet. Sounds like a valuable jewel in more ways than one. I decided to donate it to Rhyme City. The Aurora Drop, but why donate something so precious to you? It's not just precious to me, and that's exactly why I've decided to donate it. Mayor Myers has done his part improving our city by declaring the start of Pokemon Friendship Week. I thought it was about time I did mine. So I wanted to donate the jewel that survived the R incident as a symbol of Rhyme City's revival. I hope that by doing so, I can liven up not just my shop, but the whole city as well. Wow, Dennis, I'm impressed. That's a wonderful gesture. I'm glad you think so. Not everyone is so pleased about it. Oh? Forget I said anything. I shouldn't burden you with concern over such personal matters. For now, I'm counting on you to find the Aurora Drop as quickly as possible. Understood. We'll do everything we can. Now then, Mr. Barnes, well, thank you, not to leave the mansion until further notice. Understood. Hey, it sounds like the police finished questioning Barnes. Let's go talk to him. Yeah. So that must be him. Brandon Barnes, butler of the Dennis residence. How did it come to this? Why are the police all so suspicious of me? Excuse me, are you Mr. Barnes? Who might you be? I'm Detective Tim Goodman. Mr. Dennis has hired me to investigate the crime that occurred here. Is that so? My apologies. I am Brandon Barnes. I work here at the Dennis residence as a butler. Do you mind if I ask you some questions, Mr. Barnes? I realize you must be tired since you were just questioned by the police. Please, don't worry about that. If you're been hired by Mr. Dennis, then it is my duty to give you my full cooperation. Thank you. What would you like to speak about first? The time of the incident. I was away when the incident occurred. It wasn't until after I finished my errand and entered the house that I realized something was amiss. I heard Turner cry out from the second floor. When I rushed upstairs, I found him collapsed on the floor in front of the jewel storage room. So that means Barnes was the first witness to arrive at the scene of the crime. Did you see the thief or their partner Pokemon? No, nothing like that. Wait, if Barnes ran up the stairs, you'd think he would have run straight into the thief. If he didn't see anyone, could they have escaped from the second floor? Did you check the storage room? Yes, the door was already open, and when I looked inside, I saw the Aurora Drop was gone. Then I contacted Mr. Dennis and the police right away. Unfortunately not. It was only afterward that Mr. Dennis came out of her room to see what the commotion was about. And the only others in the house at the time were Growlithe and Clefable. Naturally, no one can take witness statements from Pokemon, so I'm afraid I have no alibi. That's where we come in. The Pokemon that live in this mansion might know something. Do you have any idea who the thief might be? Not a clue, I'm afraid. But I do know that Mr. Dennis and I are the only ones who can freely use the key to the jewel storage room. Yes. Growlithe guards the key with constant vigilance, so I imagine it would be very difficult for anyone else to take it from her. Huh. At least this confirms that only those two have the access to the key about Ducklet.
Yes.
Ducklet is my dear partner Pokemon. Just look at this photo. Aww, that's so cute. That's Ducklet with you there? Yes, isn't she adorable? Just look at her feathers. Simply beautiful. But that's not all. She's also incredibly clever and even helps me out with my work. Oh, excuse me. I'm terribly sorry. I tend to get a bit carried away when I speak about Ducklet. It's really no problem. You mentioned that she helps you with your work. What exactly does she do? Let's see. She runs errands for me, such as buying coffee beans from a local cafe. Oh. There's a place nearby called the High Hat Cafe. Perhaps you've heard of it? She regularly goes shopping there by herself. If that's their to-go cafe, then it's gotta be for the High Hat blend. Guess I shouldn't have been surprised that the Rhyme City's elites have such refined taste. I asked her to go to the cafe today, in fact, but she hasn't returned yet. Could she have wandered off somewhere? Unfortunately, no. The feathers found at the crime scene are Ducklet's, right? Yes, no question about it, but I haven't had the faintest idea why Ducklet's feathers would be there. Just the thought of her getting caught up in the crime somehow, I'm so worried I can hardly think straight. Yes. He worked tirelessly to acquire it in the first place. You might even say that the Aurora Drop is the physical manifestation, the crystallization of Mr. Dennis's career as a jeweler. I wish nothing but swift retribution on the thief who stole it from him. For someone who speaks so formally, Barnes is a pretty passionate guy, isn't he? Please, Tim, find the Aurora Drop, I beg you. Don't worry, sir, we're on the case. Yeah, if only there was another witness, at least. Huh? Barnes told us that the Growlithe and Clefable were in the mansion at the time of the incident. Oh, right. Maybe the Pokemon saw something. Interview Growlithe and Clefable. Okay, fine. Hey, Growlithe. Sorry to bug you when you're already feeling down, but would it be alright if we asked you some questions? We're here to catch the thief, and we need your help to do that. You're willing to talk to us if it'll help Sanji? Thanks. Growlithe's nickname for Dennis, near as I can tell. Oh, right, his full name is Sanjeev Dennis, so I guess Sanji makes sense. Alright, about you. Gotcha. As Dennis's partner, it's your job to guard the mansion. And we already know that the key to the jewel storage room was around your neck. It's important to Dennis, so guarding it is important to you. Makes sense. She says she'd never let anyone other than Dennis or Barnes even touch the key. So that's why you feel extra responsible for what happened, huh? She's really got a strong sense of responsibility. Do you remember anything about the time of the incident? You don't know because you were napping? What? Your breakfast was so tasty that you ate too much and it made you sleepy? Huh, been there, believe me. What are you even talking about? You woke up when Barnes got home. That would have been right before all the commotion happened. And when you woke up, your precious key was gone? Yeah, I can tell you're upset. You'll do whatever it takes to help us catch the thief? Thanks. We'll come ask for an assist if anything comes up. She says Barnes is a kind and well-mannered person. He and Dennis are close, and she's never seen them fighting or arguing. Mr. Dennis really does seem to trust Barnes after all. And Growlithe likes Barnes too. It's hard to think of Barnes as likely a culprit. Okay, I guess now it's Clefable's turn. What? You think we're thieves returning to the scene of the crime? You got it all wrong. We're not here to steal anything. We're actually great detectives looking to catch the thief. Please, can you answer some questions? Yes, really. Come on. You can trust us. Yeah, help us out, and I'm sure Claudia's bad mood will clear up too. So you're willing to talk to us? Thanks. Guess Clefable was worried we'd do something bad to Mrs. Dennis. Okay, about you, Clefable. Do you have a job here at the mansion? No job per se, unless you count spending time with Claudia. Isn't it tough hanging out with someone so prickly? Claudia's not a bad person, you say. Sorry, didn't mean to be insulting. So Claudia's always arguing with someone or other. But when it's just you and her together, she starts to regret the whole thing. I get it now. You're pretty nice. I bet Clefable's really important to Mrs. Dennis. Did anything strange happen today? Clefable's saying she got real sleepy while playing in the mansion this morning. Okay. Then she dozed off and doesn't know what happened after that? That's too bad. What do you think of Barnes? Do you get along with him all right? Claudia doesn't like Barnes, so Clefable tries not to have much to do with him. But she doesn't think Barnes is a bad person. After all, she says Barnes ran to help Turner when he got hurt. Clefable was dozing near the front door this morning. When Barnes got home from doing stuff outside, she woke up and greeted him at the door. Then Clefable and Barnes heard Turner cry out on the second floor, so they both went running upstairs. That means when Turner was attacked, Barnes was still on the first floor.
Okay, let's start deducing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Alright, we've got useful information. Let's stop for a moment and get our thoughts together. Based on everything we heard, Barnes is innocent. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay.
We learned that Clefable greeted Barnes when he returned to the mansion, and Growlithe said she woke up at exactly the same time. Yeah, looks like it. Yeah. Yeah, witnesses reported seeing a red Pokemon and Ducklet. Well, the only Pokemon I can think of that's red and has a blade is Ponyard, but I'm pretty sure that blade would have killed him, so couldn't have been punched. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like we gotta go to the Hi Hat Cafe. Alright guys, well I'm gonna end this episode off here. In the next episode we will continue proving Barnes' innocence and see who the culprit that took the Aurora drop. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!